Hi everybody, Nick here at Dogwood Acres Farm. We're going to look today at it's more of an informative and entertainment video. I don't consider this a DIY. I actually advise against it unless you know exactly what you're doing. We found a swarm in a tree and we're going to go take it out and put it into a hive box. And that's today's video. Again, I don't recommend you doing this unless you're an actual beekeeper and you know what you're doing. Otherwise, call a professional and have them do it. I cannot state that enough. Do not attempt this yourself. So anyway, here we go with this swarm retrieval. So we're just getting prepared here to actually catch the swarm. What we're doing is we are taping off the bottom of the box to a bottom board. That'll help hold it in place so that when we're putting the bees into the box, it won't fall off and obviously lose all the bees. We're now stuffing some sponges I got at the dollar store. This is going to block off about 80% of the entrance so that the bees that we shake in will not be able to escape, and we can hold our hand over it, which you'll see later in the video, and hold them in there. We're going to glove up and put on our full suits. Now they say, of course, that bees that are swarming are full of honey and they don't sting. This is pretty close to the original hive, I believe, and I did get stung 3 times during this swarm catch. So even though they say that generally they won't sting, apparently the bees never read the manual on that. So you can see the swarm in the tree. Now it's quite a large swarm. It's about 30,000 bees, roughly, give or take. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put the box underneath the swarm. We're going to reach up, grab the branch, and shake them off into the box. Now this box only has about 4 or 5 frames in it right now. So here we're going to give it a shake. Shake it all over the box, all over me. And now shake them down into the box. And we're going to cover the box immediately with the top lid upside down. We want to do that so that we can make sure the queen is caught, and what we're doing now is covering that hole that we left, that little small hole where the sponges aren't. We're going to cover it with our hand and let the queen start spreading her pheromone inside the box if we caught her. So we're going to remove our hand once or twice after a few minutes and see if we caught her. Here we remove, and if they start piling out, which they just did, we're going to put our hand back over. So on the 3rd attempt here, we're going to see if they keep piling out or if they actually sense the queen in the box. And we can see now my partner is pointing to bees that are fanning the outside with pheromones, so we know we've caught the queen. And I do know for a fact we caught the queen in this particular box catch this time. So we'll start removing some of the sponges that were in the way, and that'll allow the bees to filter down from the tree and from around the area into the box slowly. And the pheromones are still up on the branch, so they'll still be gathered up there and flying around. Right now the pheromones are not strong enough in the air coming out of the box from the fanning bees, so the bees may still think that the queen's on the branch. Again, like I said, we know we caught the queen. We did find her later in the box, and you'll see in a moment it's very obvious that she was in the box. So we're just waiting now for a few minutes till all the bees start realizing that she's down in the box and they want to come down and join their sisters. And we can see there's still quite a good clump of bees on the branch. There you can see. It still looks like a swarm, but in fact it's a swarm without a queen. And a few minutes later, we can see they now realize, oh, the queen is in the box, and they've all migrated down. And 30,000 bees approximately that were on that swarm are now trying to stuff themselves into this one deep box. So I don't know if it was really quite enough room for them, but you'll see when we lift the lid, they're all stuck to the top of the lid and everywhere. We're adding frames now. We're going to fill up the box with the extra frames, so we have 10 frames. There was 5 in there. And I'm actually going to checkerboard between foundation frames and frameless frames. I've been experimenting and getting very good success with the foundationless frames, and I'm going to be switching all my hives over to that. And there is some controversy as to whether that's good or not, and it's all personal preference. I am seeing good results with them, in the brood boxes. So that's what I'm going to be doing with all of my hives in the future. So here you can see we've put in all the frames. Now we're going to go ahead and shake the bees off into the box and try and get them stuffed in there. Just give them a shake. It's really neat when they're all in a big cluster like this, that they're almost like liquid, and when you give them a shake they all just kind of fall off like a liquid mass. We're now going to put on the inner cover, and somebody's quick thinking has got it turned around and put on the proper way. And try not to squish the bees. With this many bees, it's almost an impossibility, though. We're just going to try and gently place it down so they're not all getting squished or crushed. We don't want to do that if we can help it. It's very difficult, like I said, though, with this many bees. So now we're just going to try and knock off the rest of the bees and then apply the top cover. Now this hive is going to sit outside overnight and just be left alone. Any of the remaining straggling bees should go in there by the evening. Once it gets dark, they'll all go inside, and then first thing in the morning I'm going to move it over to the new location, which is actually only about 50 feet away from where we've caught this swarm, where my actual bee yard is. So we're just taking off all our equipment now, and successful catch. And like I said, in the morning we'll check it and see how they made out, and I'm sure they'll be just fine. Here's a swarm we caught yesterday. We've placed a second deep on top for another brood chamber for them, and they're still getting accustomed to their new home, but they are happily in there. They weren't too happy this morning when I put the second chamber on. However, they're doing well now. And that's how we catch a swarm and place it into a hive.